Oh, hi! I didn't see you there. I actually did. That was just the hook of the video to make you keep watching. Did it work? Are you still watching? I hope it did. This is the sideboard guide for my Legacy 5-color Yorion Uro Beans deck. I've already done deck tech on it. It was posted yesterday. You should check that out. But we're going to do a sideboard guide against the top 10-ish most popular decks in Legacy. Now, if you're looking for a deck tech, make sure you check out that deck tech. But we're still going to talk about the sideboard in this. This is the deck. And if we look at the sideboard, we're playing Blue Elemental Blast and Hydro Blast for red cards. Surgical Extraction is our graveyard hate. Power Blast and Red Elemental Blast are for the blue cards. Meltdown for artifact hate. Carpet of Flowers for island decks. Veil of Summer for counterspell decks. And Force of Vigor for artifacts and enchantments. So it's pretty straightforward. So let's jump right into it with how we sideboard against both Grixis Tempo and Temur Delver. We are bringing in Veil of Summer for counter magic. Bringing in Power Blast because there's a lot of scary blue cards, including Red Elemental Blasts. Bringing in Carpet of Flowers because it's an island deck. Oh my god, I can't do it. They're Carpet of Flowers because it's an island deck. And we're bringing in 2 Hydro Blasts because there are some red cards that we wouldn't mind countering, specifically opponent's Pyroblast. And because this ends up being a grind and we don't want to be 2-for-1ing ourselves, we're bringing out Force of Negation and Force of Will. And then we're bringing out 2 4th Eolingas. Once we get the ball rolling, we don't need to be able to get the Monarchy. They can get the Monarch back pretty reasonably. We're just going to bury them in card advantage and all of that stuff, and we just don't need the extra card. 4th Eolingas actually is kind of the extra card in our deck. We're actually going to be siding it out quite a bit, just so you know. But this is how we sideboard against both Grixis Tempo and Temur Delver. Next, had a sideboard against both Boros Initiative and the Red Prison deck. We're going to be bringing in Hydro Blast and Blue Elemental Blast, obviously. We're going to bring in the Meltdown and Force of Vigor. And then we're siding out Orcish Bowmasters because it doesn't really do anything against those decks. And then 1 4th Eolingas. That's how we sideboard against both Boros Initiative and Red Prison. Against lands, we're bringing in a Meltdown and a Force of Vigor because they have a reasonable amount of artifacts that if we kill, they might flounder. And we're bringing out 2 Swords of Plowshares. There's not a lot of creatures we need to kill. We have a lot of exile removal already. And so going down on that is pretty solid. So I sideboard against lands. However, against the Selesnya Depths deck, I don't like making any changes. They're nearly the same deck, but they have less artifacts and enchantments, so we don't want to bring in our artifacts and enchantment hate. And they have more creatures, so we want to keep in our Swords of Plowshares. So there's actually no changes against Selesnya Depths. Against 8-cast, we are bringing in the Pyroblast, the Red Elemental Blast because it's a blue deck, Force of Vigor, and Meltdown because they're artifact decks, and Veil of Summer because they have counter magic. Both Eolingas just isn't good enough. It's just kind of too slow, and they normally have blockers if we try to cast it on turn 3. Force of Negation is kind of medium because a lot of the non-creature spells we don't really care about besides Force of Will, and that's And then we're bringing out a Force of Will, speaking of, for similar reasons, we're bringing it out against Delver. We kind of just don't want to 2-for-1 ourselves because we're looking to grind and answer cards in our opponent's deck. So that's how I sideboard against 8-cast. Next, Cephalid Breakfast, the Thassa's Oracle combo deck. Bring in Surgical Extraction just as additional things to interrupt the combo when it actually happens. It doesn't always work, but it's just another thing that they have to answer. Bringing in Pyroblast because of a bunch of blue yummies. Bringing in Carpet of Flowers because it actually is an island deck. And we're bringing out 4th Eolingas. It's just, we're not looking to get insane value against this deck, which is why we're also bringing out the One Ring. We're bringing out Life from the Loan because the deck, I think, is just really fast, and up the Beanstalk. So we're bringing out a lot of our value cards and just looking to answer their combo. This is how I sideboard against the Cephalid Breakfast deck. Against Reanimator, we're bringing in Surgical Extraction, and that's it. We're taking out Life from the Loam just because it's too slow, and 4th Eolingas just because it's too slow. So this is how I sideboard against Reanimator. Against Death Shadow, we're going to sideboard really similarly to Delver because the decks play really similar to each other, except the Death Shadow deck is normally blue-black. This is also for the blue-black Scam deck. We're going to be bringing in Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, Carpet of Flowers because it is a blue deck, even though it is primarily black. Veil of Summer because it's a counterspell deck, and Surgical Extraction in an attempt to interrupt the Scam. We're bringing out Force of Negation because we don't want to 2-for-1 ourselves, Force of Will because we don't want to 2-for-1 ourselves, and 4th Eolingas just because it is not 100% great. For similar reasons that we sideboard it out against Delver. And the last deck we're going to talk about how to sideboard against is Painter. Against Painter, we're bringing in Surgical Extraction, mostly so like Goblin Welder can't mess us up. Hydro Blast and Blue Elemental Blast because it is a red deck. Force of Vigor to answer the pesky artifacts, similarly to Meltdown. We're bringing out Orcish Bowmasters. This doesn't really answer anything we super-de-duper care about. And Teferi Time Raveler because they're not really playing at instant speed, and we don't really want to return things to our opponent's hand. So this is how I sideboard against Painter. But there you have had a sideboard against the top whatever I did decks in Legacy with this awesome 5-color deck. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Fucking Patreon. Also check out Patreon, where we have a bunch of sideboard guides and stuff all written out there, as well as other Magic content. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.